Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I have a very entertaining email I was sent from a subscriber. It's from a guy, he is 36 years old, and he shares his story how he has learned the hard way a few years ago of why you do not take dating advice, pickup advice, relationship advice from the gals. You're going to see in the story that his master Yoda, if you will, on women was his mom. And she told him all the things I tell you not to do, and to no surprise, caused him a lifetime of problems with women. And he learned especially the hard way with his latest fiancée, who is, in his words, obviously very hot, a 9 or 10 in looks department, a social media model, and used them for everything it was worth. But fortunately, our guy sees the light, partially because he found my channel, and sent her packing. And let me tell you, it was a whole drama fest. And now he is had a renaissance. He's been reborn, doing great for himself, kicking butt in life, and I'm so proud of him. But he's had the guts to write in this story to this community, and I know you are going to have fun tearing him apart in the comment section as a lesson to all the guys out there not to make the mistakes he did. And again, it backs up why I tell you all the time, do not take relationship advice, pickup advice, dating advice from women. By and large, most of them do not get what they're actually attracted to, or if they do get it, they don't like that they're attracted to guys that put them in their place or take charge, that type of thing, and they want to condition their sons or their little brothers to be these gentlemen. And guys that behave that way and are pleasers and pushovers just get taken advantage of so badly. As well as all sorts of other things like don't buy a girl's affection and don't take them on expensive first dates and all those types of things. And you're going to see here this guy does all the wrong things. But before you want to leave, don't leave, because this does end on a high note, and I'm very proud of him when the story ends. He says, hey SSM, I want to thank you for reading my short letter in your video, A Swinger Club Owner Reveals the Truth of How Open Marriages Don't Work, that you covered last May. I was hoping to possibly help the community with a story from my most recent relationship. Oh, this story is going to help guys out, all right. And by the way, guys, have your smacking hands ready, because this guy... Oh, some backstory here. I'm 36 years old, and up until the past 2 years, I was the typical blue-pilled gentleman. Oh, yes, you were, my friend. My childhood into early adulthood was mainly around my mother and my 2 younger sisters. My father was the provider of the house, but we barely spoke or saw each other. Yeah, and that certainly will prove to be a problem for you, being around all these women all the time. So my mother was my main influence with dating as I grew up. Smack! That's the worst possible thing. I was always told I need to be a nice guy and shower women with attention and affection. Yeah, how'd that work out for you? Needless to say, relationships have not gone well with this advice. Imagine that. Every single relationship has led to me finding out I was being cheated on and or used for what I had. I was blind and always blamed everyone else for my mistakes. No, your mistakes are your mistakes. Now, I will say this, you listened to your mother about pickup, relationships, dating, all that, and that's the worst thing you can do. And by the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, you do not take pickup advice, dating advice, relationship advice ever from women. Ever. Because by and large, my life experience here, they don't really understand what they're drawn to, what they're attracted to. And if they do, they don't want to admit it. And they want the guy to do all these things, and yet they're not dating that type of guy. Do not take advice from men. A well-experienced man that knows what the F he's talking about. You know, a fisherman, you don't ask a fish how to catch a fish, you ask a fisherman. That type of line, however the hell it goes. But watch in this story how taking his mother's advice screwed everything up for him. So, in 2021, after COVID shut down and started to wind down, I reconnect with a girl I was friends with in college while I was at Starbucks. We will call her Sarah. Friends with, huh? Meaning you never got in her panties back then for obvious reasons. She was a 28-year-old, 5'1" blonde, Latina with the hourglass figure. The first thing I literally said to her was that she looked gorgeous. Smack! Alrighty, there you go. Guys just cannot help themselves when they're around a smoking hot chick. They got to start bombarding it with compliments, and she's like, I know, I can get what I want from this sucker. She blushed and smiled, and after about 10 minutes of catching up, we exchanged numbers. After a few days, I reached out and we communicated through text almost daily. So you're that guy. You're going to talk to fucking text like a friend and have the balls to ask her out. It led to multiple phone calls and eventually me asking her out on a date. She said yes, and I planned our first date at, wait for it guys, at Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Smack! Are you nuts? Guys, if you haven't been to Ruth Chris Steakhouse, let me fill you in. That is one of these national chain steakhouses that a typical steak nowadays, depending on where you live, what city you're in, all that, is probably going to run you $60. Then if you want a side of asparagus or mashed potatoes, add another $15 for each side. And probably another $20 for the snackatizer you have prior to your entree. Then you're probably going to spend easily $20 to $50 if you're drinking. And this is all for you. Then tip. So you put two people together, he's probably running a tab about at least bare fucking minimum without any alcohol, $200, probably $250 or $300. You're taking this girl, this smoking hot girl who knows she's hot, to Ruth Chris, paying $300. What do you, dude? You're buying her affection. You're saying this. The only way I can get you is by buying you expensive things. Don't do that. One drink would have. Why don't you go back to Starbucks where you found her the first time and have fucking coffee? And you're gonna see the hell this guy goes through by starting off on this path. Now, my mother always told me to shower women with attention and affection. I went all out to impress her on the first day, and she showed her how interested I am. Smack! She knows you're interested in her by the fact that you exchange phone numbers and you're reaching out to her. You don't want her to know how interested you are because that gives her all the power. You want women to wonder, does he like me at all? Well, she knows darn well you like her by you bombarding her with texts and phone calls and taking her out to goddamn Ruth Chris $300 dinner on the first date. Yes, I'm in the mood to yell and give him shit today, guys, because this is the shit that guys do. This is a very important learning story here. He goes, yes, I know, smack, yeah. I should get a baseball bat out. The date went really well. Oh, I'm sure it did. She probably enjoyed that meal very much. We were there for hours catching up and getting to know each other about how our lives had changed since college. We both graduated with bachelor's degrees and went our own ways. I became an asset protection manager for one of the largest pharmacy chains in the country. An asset protection manager? Well, you're not protecting your assets because you just spent $300 on your fucking American Express card to impress this chick. Where's the protecting of your assets? When I asked her what field she got into, she just said social media and modeling. Oh, for God's sakes. Given how she's an 8 or 9 in the looks department, I shouldn't be surprised. Bro, check please. Remember, 8, 9s and 10s, and she probably was a 9 or a 10, are not relationship material. They're hookup material. They are friends with benefits. Why? Because otherwise, especially you said models, and she's trying to be a social media star, they are attention whores. And they're used to getting attention all the time. People buying them stuff. This is not going to go well for you. And I know it doesn't. She showed me her Instagram, and I saw all the bikini pictures, gym pictures, and pictures of her in a private plane. Now, looking back at all that, from an R-pill perspective, these were major red flags. You think? You think you're going to provide her that lifestyle? No. I don't think so. And guess what? You're going to have all these guys after all the time. At that time, I had such low confidence and self-esteem that I didn't even think of what I could possibly be getting myself into. I was just excited someone actually liked me back. Right there. And by the way, I really respect you for writing in, because it takes balls. And you know I'm going to give you shit. But I have to give you shit because this is the way men learn. Right there. Because of his low confidence and low self-esteem, he did all this shit. This is why I'm trying so hard to help so many guys out there work hard to build up self-esteem and self-confidence so they don't get themselves in these types of predicaments. Because a lot of guys don't just do this with women, they do this with other guys too, and get taken advantage of. In the beginning, things were great. Weekly dates and sex multiple times a week. Well, at least you're getting laid. You should. I mean, for that $300 Ruth Chris dinner, you could have got yourself a nice hooker and have a lot of fun. She showed me a lot of attention. It was something I never really got from the other women I dated. And let me guess, you're probably thinking, yes, the movies were right. My mom was right. Give her all the attention and affection, and this is what I get. Thanks, Mom. Now the nice guy like me is getting the girl. Oh, no. She's getting your money. So I started to believe that my mom was right after all. I put her so high on the pedestal that she could do no wrong. After about 6 months of this, I started to notice that if the dates weren't over the top, I would get less attention from her. Imagine that. Now at the time, I was making good money, but living in one of the most expensive states in the Northeast, it felt as though I still struggled. I never realized how expensive dating this type of woman could be. She always wanted the best places to eat and weekend getaways, and she wouldn't take no for an answer. Do you ever think that she's only with you for what she can get out of you? Did that ever, cross your mind? One weekend, for example, she wanted to go to Miami Beach because she felt cold. She felt cold? Turn up the fucking heat in your house, bitch. A trip to Miami Beach is expensive under normal circumstances. For Sarah, it was taken to another level. Private flights from New Jersey to Miami was her normal thing. Oh, for God's sakes. What, first class on Delta Airlines wasn't enough for her? I couldn't afford it at the time. So I said, not this weekend, and she had a meltdown. She would ridicule me by saying, if you are broke, just say that, or I can't be with a broke guy. Okay, Your Highness, Your Royal Majesty, kiss my ass. Get the fuck out of here. That's what he should have said, but he did not. Meltdown because Princess, what the fuck's her name? I forget. Princess, whatever her name is, isn't getting her way. We would go back and forth, and eventually I would cave. Smack! I know I should have smacked him 16,000 times prior to this smack, but, I'm not always with it. I'd take out my credit card and book the trip. You bonehead. As time grew, I noticed my debt reaching as high as $70,000. Smack! Bro, I do not feel bad for you. You brought this on yourself. You're a grown-ass man, should have fucking known better. 70 grand. Mr. Asset Protection for the pharmacy. You need to hire someone to protect you from yourself. So the bills started to pile, and I could no longer afford all the grand trips. You couldn't afford them to begin with, dude. After our first anniversary, I proposed, and she said yes. Smack! Oh my God. I was so blinded by having a beautiful woman that I didn't see that what I was losing in the process. Oh no, your integrity, your manhood. Please tell me that she did everything that you could possibly dream of in the sack. At the very least that. But I'm willing to bet you that's probably no. I ended up taking a second job to keep up with the bills and her lifestyle. Was there ever a time that this freaking a-hole ever pay for dinner or buy you anything or treat you anything? I think not. Around this time is when I stumbled upon your channel and my art pill journey began. You sure about that? I also noticed that now we were engaged. The SEX basically dried up with excuses of being not in the mood or I'm too tired. That's because you put a ring on her finger and now she, engagement ring, and now she knows she's got you. As if she didn't already know from the first date at Ruth Chris. She's probably nailing somebody else. I'm sure multiple someone else's. Now all she did for actual work was doing other women's lashes professionally, maybe once or twice a week. Oh, what a catch. Dude, did it go through your head that her looks one day will fade? That her pretty face and curvaceous Latina body, and I do like those curvaceous Latina bodies too, but I'm not stupid, was not going to look the same in time, and all you have left is her wonderful, loving, loyal personality? No, you weren't thinking that. At this point, she still had her own place, but was basically living in mine. So I allowed her to move in officially with me. Smack! Oh, great. Probably one of the biggest mistakes of my life other than proposing to her. Once she moved in, if she quit her part-time lashing job and wanted to be a homemaker. She's going to be a homemaker? There is no way she can cook or clean. All her bills, including mine, were now my responsibility, and stupid me, I allowed it. Smack! I think you just say this is the time you discovered my channel and your RP journey began. Clearly you only watched like 1 or 2 videos. You probably made fun of me being in the car. You're not making fun of me now. We didn't share checking accounts, but I did make her an authorized user on all of my credit cards. Jesus Christ, dude. And by the way, this is when he says he's barely getting any pussy at all now. He's thinking, oh, I have to do more to make her happy. Then I'll go back to getting all the pussy in the beginning. Smack, smack, smack. The fine folks at American Express are thanking you for your business. My overall spending on those cards doubled, from daily brunch with her girlfriends to luxury items for my place. My debt was completely out of control. Every day I come home from work expecting some dinner to be made and being pampered, only to be told about how busy she was and maybe we should go out to eat. What'd I just tell you? I said the bitch can't cook or clean. From all the stress eating I was doing, I gained another 50 pounds. I was over 100 pounds overweight and stressed. Bro, you brought this on yourself. You're a grown-ass man. So, after speaking with my mother, of course, and hearing the line, happy wife, happy life, I knew it was a load of garbage. So for the first time ever, I reached out to my father. After explaining the situation, the first thing he said to me was, you are being drained dry. I told him what my mom said about dating, and of course he laughed. I laughed too. Your dad just slapped you. He said he never did those things with her, and they are still married. She didn't marry the nice guy. She married a man who didn't play games. She married a man who checked her whenever she tried to test him, and a man who was a leader and focused on his purpose. With him and you both saying focus on your purpose, I realized that I thought my purpose was just supposed to be, wait for it, married and cater to my wife's every need. Smack! That's what you get for listening to women about getting women. Deep down, it wasn't what I really wanted to do with my life. So I went home and told Sarah we needed to talk. Hallelujah! Let the healing begin. She seemed disinterested and surprised I was home early since she was going out with her girlfriends. Yeah, geez, what a surprise. What do you think she was doing with her girlfriends? Lining up sucker number 2. She said, can we talk about it later? I'm going out. I said, no, and this is happening right now. She tried to argue with me, but I told her to sit down and listen. Good for you, man. I'm proud of you. It's about fucking time. I flat out said that I refuse to be used for your lifestyle anymore, and if you truly love me and wanted to work, you'll work with me and would understand where I was coming from. Yes, exactly, my man. This was the first time I stood my ground with her instead of caving. She was very surprised and said this isn't how a future husband should be treating his wife. Of course. You never showed any balls before, so she's just like, oh, he probably just watched some movie or something, and she figured she could shame me into submission. I responded by saying a future wife should be treating her husband with respect and love, not as a personal ATM. Sarah was offended that I would even think that and demanded an apology. Of course she did. I told her she can pick up her stuff and leave my place. Hallelujah, my man. My patience reached its limit as I realized she really didn't love me. No, she didn't, dude. She stormed out of the apartment and tried to leave with the car that I purchased and which was in my name. Smack! But you're doing good now. It wouldn't turn on due to the fact that I disconnected the battery before entering the house. So you knew she was going to freak out and storm out of there. I told her she could leave and order an Uber, which she did. After she left, I called each of the credit card companies, requested new cards, and removed her as an authorized user. Good, bro. Oh, you're going to get some Latina hellfire. Sure enough, pretty soon, my man. A few hours later, I get bombarded with phone calls and texts asking why her credit cards aren't working. Bitch, get your own credit cards. She wanted to book a hotel for the night. What, the Fontainebleau in Miami? I said they were my credit cards and I'm taking them back. If you want a room, use your own money, and I hung up on her. Bro, if you would have acted like this in the beginning, she'd be submitting to your ass. My phone kept ringing with calls and texts and messages ranging from how I'm an ugly bastard to I'm so sorry, can I please come home? And I ignored all of it. The next day I canceled her phone line as it was in my name and I refused to pay for another phone. I also changed the lock so she wouldn't be allowed back in. Very good. But we know darn well she'll come back. A few days later I get a knock at my door. It's Sarah with my mother. Oh, she went to your mom. Your wonderful counselor of advice on women. Stupidly, I let them in. Smack! Sarah began to apologize and cry with my mother, trying to convince me to give her a second chance. Hobag Handbook Chapter 2. I considered it, but I remembered all the pain and stress that I went through, and I simply said no. I told my mother to please respect my wishes and let this go. I also told Sarah that she had a month to pack up her belongings and leave. They both left together. How about that? Now, I'm sure a lot of you are probably wondering, and I was too, it sounded a lot like his mom and dad were divorced, because how did he grow up in that house with the mom and all the sisters and the dad and not have his dad, who knows what the hell he's talking about, rub off on him? And I'm probably guessing this guy obviously was a mama's boy and spent all his time with mama and probably didn't want to be around dad because dad probably was a little too macho for him and dad probably would tell him things that he didn't want to hear. That type of thing. Until finally he was so in such deep shit, he finally had no choice to go to his dad. That's what I'm speculating here, because he said his parents are together. Your mom is taking her side and put you in this situation. I mean, dude. That month was difficult. I moved her into the second bedroom. At this time, I joined a gym and made it a part of my daily routine. Wonderful. Wonderful. Working out helped me release all the stress and pain that I had built up inside. After workouts, I felt a lot better. Sarah would continue to try to change my mind. I'd come home to a clean house and a cooked dinner. Ah, the bitch can cook and clean. Or she probably got some other sucker to cook and put it in Tupperware and come over and put on the plate right before he got home from work. And probably hired some other sucker to come and clean the... There's no way I believe she actually cooked and cleaned. I looked at her and said, this is too late and that she has 3 weeks to leave. So she found a friend who was looking for a roommate, and by the end of the month, she was gone. The relief I felt when she left was overwhelming. I knew now that all this could have been avoided if I had a backbone and self-respect. Once she was gone, I continued my routine and lost over 50 pounds so far. Bro, that's wonderful. I'm very proud of you. Also around this time, I opened up an LLC as a fuel service pump mechanic, and business started off great. Now I'm well into 6 figures and I'm happy. Awesome. Now don't think because you make a lot of money you can spoil some other chick. I started picking up some hobbies and making time to hang out with friends. I think I'm going to give up dating for right now, as it almost destroyed my life. Well, I would say you almost destroyed your life. And taking advice from your mama almost destroyed your life. But you know what? If you had to go through all that humiliation and suffering, and not to mention 70 plus grand or more in debt, which I'm sure you're still paying off, to learn all this at your age, then one could argue it was worth it. But that's one hell of a lesson. Isn't it better to learn from other people's mistakes by hearing about them than actually going through that shit yourself? Well, that's why I do these videos. There's still a lot of work on myself as I realized that I hated being alone. That's why I put up with the pain and disrespect. Number one, guys, you must learn to be okay and comfortable being alone. If not, you're going to make very bad decisions with regards to relationships, forcing things because you want to be alone. And two, we all know darn well you didn't put up with all that pain and disrespect just because you want to be alone. You could have been with a fucking 400-pound fat chick, obese chick that was butt ugly, and you wouldn't be alone. No, you did all that because of the pussy. Because the smoking hot chick that you believed really liked you, and because just like your mama said, that's why you did it. Let's not kid ourselves here. It's now a daily routine when I start my day as I'm driving, listening to your new SSM story or on They Did What. I hope this helps anyone that is stuck in a similar situation. Again, thanks for all you do. You saved my life. Thanks, brother, Drew. Well, Drew, I appreciate you writing in. It took balls to write in that story. Ho-ho, because you knew how I was going to react. And I can only begin to imagine the comments in the comments section, but you have redeemed yourself. And the only thing you didn't mention is that girl coming back for a second chance. If she hasn't yet, I'm sure she will one day. I'm sure because she's youngish still, and good looking, she found some other sucker to take care of her. But eventually, as she's getting older, because I think you said she's in her late 20s now, or at least she was when you started with her, that eventually her looks are going to fade and she won't be as desirable. I mean, let's be honest, most guys will nail any chick they can get their hands on as long as she's a certain weight and she's, taking a shower within a day or so. Let's be honest here. But it's not going to be as easy for her to get guys as it was. And you'll probably hear from her again. And you'll know what to do. And And God help you if you do take her back. I'm coming after you. But bro, good job. You learned the hard way. I'm so glad you started your own business. You're making damn good money. You need to make damn good money to pay off your freaking credit card. I can't imagine the interest on that $70,000 that you're paying. Jesus. And doing well learning. I'm glad you're at the gym working out, losing weight. Take care, spending time with your friends, your hobbies. And your story here, as embarrassing as it was for you, you're going to help some young guys out. But I had to tear you a new one in this video because otherwise young guys aren't going to get that. But anyhow, bro, I'm proud of you and I'm glad you wrote in. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.